I think the three most important things in a pair of wireless earbuds or headphones for me are comfort, sound quality, and battery life. And the reasons for this should, of course, be obvious. If they're not comfortable, you're not going to wear them because they're uncomfortable. If the sound quality is terrible, you're not going to want to listen to them because it's terrible. And if the batteries don't last very long, you're going to be forever running out of charge, unable to listen to your music or your podcast or whatever it is you want to do. And that's going to be no good either. So when we look at these Sony WF C510s, what do we have on those 3 points? Comfort is very subjective. Everyone's ear size and shape is different. For me, these are super comfortable, no issues whatsoever. They stay in my ears really solidly. So if you want to use them for the gym or for running or whatever, they're not going to fall out. They're going to be absolutely fine, no issues whatsoever there. This is what they look like sat in my lug holes, to use a very British term. So yeah, for me, very comfortable, no chance of them falling out. They do come with 3 sets of inners, so you can adjust them, if you need bigger ones, use the bigger ones. If you need smaller ones, use the smaller ones. The medium ones, which come pre-installed, are what actually fit just nicely for me. Let's give you a little close-up of one of these buds themselves. This is a physical button on here, by the way, rather than touch sensitive. You can see the 2 charging points there, and the little R denominating this is the right earbud, and of course microphone opening at the bottom. Now, I am a fan of physical buttons over touch controls. Touch controls have infuriated me ever since back when they first came out in the 80s, and they're just not responsive enough. There's no tactile feedback letting you know you've actually pressed the button. So with these, they don't require a lot of force to press them. In fact, if you can probably watch how much it moves in my ear as I press each press. 1, 2, 3. So there's not too much force required. You don't want to be stabbing yourself in the ear to be able to start and stop your track, skip your track, answer your phone call, or adjust your volume. So for me, that's a big plus. So they're comfortable. The physical buttons are comfortable to use. I have no complaints there whatsoever. Sound quality wise, the sound quality is good. It's not excellent, and we'll talk about why when I get to the cons section, but it is good. The bass is clear and not muddy. The mid-range vocals are really, the low and the mid is really where Bluetooth sort of shines. It's the high end where Bluetooth loses out because of the compression. I mean, all of the audio loses out when it's compressed, but particularly noticeable is the high end, the treble. And these are, of course, no different because they are Bluetooth. Now, there are varying Bluetooth codecs. These support AAC and SBC. SBC is the worst possible Bluetooth codec to use for audio. It's been around for a couple of decades. It's the most compressed. It's terrible. AAC is a step up from that and is what is used by Apple devices, I believe, by default. And then above that, you have things like LDAC, which is a Sony proprietary codec. I have a Sony phone that I'm using these with, so I would have that available if these had it, which they don't. And then of course there's also aptX, which is a Qualcomm standard Bluetooth codec, and both aptX and LDAC would be my preferred choice for Bluetooth connectivity. And these being entry level, currently £45, which is super cheap for a decent set of wireless earbuds, they only have SBC and AAC. Now, in the app here, you can specifically choose your Bluetooth connection quality. If you have a little look here, you have a choice of prioritize sound quality or prioritize stable connection. The higher the bit rate of the Bluetooth codec you use, the greater the chance of a dropout. But AAC versus SBC, you're not going to get, your phone's never going to be that far away from your earbuds anyway, and I will always set that to prioritize sound quality, because for me, the less compressed the audio, the better. I'm a little bit of an audiophile, and so to be honest, I hate Bluetooth full stop, and given the choice, I will always use wired earphones or headphones if I can. These are actually for my missus, for her to use at the gym. So yeah, I'm a little bit of I'm not a snob, but I appreciate good quality sound. If any of you have seen the sort of home theatre setup I have in the front room, the speakers I have there, you'll see I appreciate good quality sound. So you can choose whether you want, you know, prioritize connection or sound quality. Put it on connection. Like, there's no reason to use anything else. So for the codecs this uses, SBC and AAC, the sound quality is good. You know, you can't polish a turd, so to speak. If you're streaming compressed audio to any set of speakers, earphones, a home hi-fi system, that can only replicate what is being sent to it. It can't put back what's been lost. Although there is an option that attempts to. So sound quality for me, good for its limitations. And then finally, battery life. As it says on the box here, we have 11 hours plus 11 hours. What that means is 11 hours of playback in the earbuds themselves, plus a further 11 hours of charge available in the little charging case. That is where you are plugging your USB-C to charge it. They do not come with a USB-C cable. That is your Bluetooth pairing button, and there is an LED on the front. I don't think it comes on. Yes, it has come on as soon as I opened it, and that will be, I think, green, amber, and red to show you the state of charge of this itself. As far as on and off of the earbuds goes, when you place your earbuds in the charging case, they will turn off. You'll see that's now no longer connected on my phone. And then if you take them out of the charging case and we wait a few seconds, we should see them reconnect. There we go, they're reconnecting. So that doesn't take very long at all. It was literally, what, 3 or 4 seconds to reconnect. So there's no physical turning them on or off. Does it automatically. And of course, if you disconnect the Bluetooth from your phone, they will power down after a time period. Also, when they pop into the little case here, it is magnetic. They're not going to fall out. And as far as the quality of this little case goes, it feels very cheap and very plasticky. And to be honest, the earbuds themselves, the quality of these also only feels what I would say sort of like medium quality. They don't feel premium, neither the earbuds nor the case itself. But that's fine because we're not paying premium money. What's important here is the comfort, the sound quality, and the battery life. And it has all three of those. So I have no complaints there. Oh, on the comfort note as well, these are very, very light. I think it's 4.6 grams per earbud, which puts them in the lower end of the weight category for earbuds of this size. So that's all good. What else do we get for that $44.99, or what don't we get as well? So features wise, these have multi-point Bluetooth, so you can connect more than one Bluetooth device to these earbuds. Should you use 2 phones, should you have, I don't know, something you might use for running in the gym and a different device you have at home or whatever it might be, you can connect up to 2. There is an ambient sound pass-through mode. So with the little microphone that you can see there's just one on each earbud, it can pass through noise from around you into your earbud. And the way I would describe that, you can turn it on and off in the app. I may as well just show you where that is. Ambient sound control is at the top there. And if we go into it, you literally have ambient sound on or off. So flicking between the two with some ambient noise on, I tested it with people speaking, with music playing, with me speaking. It's the difference between having your fingers in your ears and listening to ambient noise and taking your fingers out of your ears. And that is also how I would describe the kind of like ambient noise rejection as well, because these don't have active noise cancelling. You wouldn't expect it at this price point. Having these in your ears sort of muffles the outside world, very similar to just putting your fingers in your ears. It's that sort of level of blocking, so to speak. The only other thing you do get when you use that ambient pass-through mode is if you choose to turn it on and off using the app with nothing playing, no noise in the background, you will hear the noise floor raise as soon as you turn it on. And what I mean by that is you'll get like a white noise, like a hiss, similar to an old cassette tape hissing when there's silence on it and it's still playing, or maybe a vinyl record but without the sort of crackliness. So there is that noise floor raises, there is a hiss. But as I say, it passes it through just fine. It's the difference between blocked and unblocked. So it does work perfectly well. Again, for a $44.99 pair of earbuds. No issues there. There is then, carrying on with the features, there is a EQ. There's various presets. Obviously there is manual and custom modes. If you look at that EQ, it's 5 band, but the very lowest band is only 400 hertz. Most people, you would look at that and you go, there's your bass slider, okay? 400 hertz is not bass. It's very much low end mid, right? If you want to adjust the bass, there is a clear bass slider at the bottom. And that works really nicely at bumping up the low end, should you want a little bit more bass. I am a fan of a little bit more bass for the type of music I listen to. And you can put that all the way up to +10, and it's not overpowering. It will not distort the earbuds. And speaking of distortion, even if you turn the Bluetooth volume on your phone up to 100%, assuming you're playing something that isn't already, in the red, these will not distort. And that's going to be what I'm assuming is an intentional limitation so as to prevent damage to the little 6mm drivers, because years gone by, you could turn speakers up or amplifiers up and make your speakers distort and damage them. These days, there's no need for that. They can test these in the factory. They can establish at what volume or decibel they will start to distort, and they can limit that in the earphones, in the app, and prevent you from damaging your devices. So that's great. You're going to get no distortion. The volume is plentiful. You would not need it any louder. I know some people like crazy volumes, that is entirely up to you, but these go more than loud enough for 99% of people, I would imagine. I'm a 20-year veteran DJ, so I'm used to being in loud nightclubs with headphones on at crazy volumes, trying to monitor what I'm doing. So even for me, and you would think my ears perhaps have been damaged by that, my last hearing test, my hearing is actually really, really good and there's no damage whatsoever. So I'm quite lucky in that respect. But yeah, even for me, who's used to high volume levels in really loud environments, these go plenty loud enough for me. They would be uncomfortably loud if they went any higher. So what else do we have aside from the EQ? I mean, for me, I leave the EQ flat, was absolutely fine, and I just bumped the bass a tiny bit, but it's personal preference, isn't it? And again, it's about what you're listening to also. We also have something called DSEE, and you'll see I have that off, and that's for a good reason. DSEE is where it attempts to make up for a poor quality sound source, i.e. something that's very compressed, and it tries to almost, it's like upscaling video, taking a poor quality image and making it better. To me, it just sounds a little bit like they've spaced the audio out. It's not something I would use. And I lost a little bit of the low end when it did this as well. So that's not for me, but maybe you like the way it sounds. Sound and music is very personal. It also supports Spotify Tap. Oh, and those physical buttons that I mentioned earlier are customizable. So you can set up what you want your taps to do. You can set up a voice assistant as well. So overall, for $44.99, these are actually a fairly feature-rich set of earbuds that sound really quite good for the limitations of their codecs. And also, speaking of limitations, don't be sort of put off by 6mm drivers. I know we can get 8 and 10mm drivers these days. Size isn't everything when it comes to sound quality, and we've seen that with the evolution of sound bars, for example, and Bluetooth speakers in general, or wireless speakers I should say, not specifically Bluetooth. Years ago, to get good bass, you would need a large driver. In this room here, I have some old Yamaha D365As, right? They're 15-inch drivers for the bass. You might see, I think we'll see this, yeah. So behind me there is some D265As, or there they go, no, yeah, they are, D265As. They've got 12-inch drivers for bass. These days, you can get an 8-inch bass driver that will put out the same volume and level of bass as something of that size. Speaker technology has moved on. So good 6mm drivers from Sony might sound far better than 10mm drivers from someone like Anker, for example. So yeah, don't be put off by the small driver size. What that also equates to is smaller form factor and lighter earbuds, which for me is a preference. They put out enough bass. When I mentioned the clear bass in the EQ earlier, I tried it at full. That was a bit too overpowering. I settled on about halfway, just to give you my sort of point of reference. So that's all the features and all the positives. The only cons really are, like I mentioned, this case feels very cheap and very flimsy. The quality of the plastic feels very cheap. And like I say, the earbuds themselves, they don't feel quite as cheap and plasticky as the case, but they definitely don't feel premium. The other negatives are, as I already mentioned, a lack of aptX and a lack of LDAC. You're going to have to spend more money if you want those from Sony, and there is no active noise cancelling. But active noise cancelling, depending on what you're doing, is not something that I'm a big fan of. Yes, if you're on an aircraft, or if you're in a safe environment, having your earbuds block out all the other noise around you could be a positive thing. Puts you in your own little world. You can relax. You can listen to whatever it is you want to listen to, music, podcasts, and chill out, right? If you are walking through a busy street of London or any city, or even on public transport, the subway, a bus, somewhere where there are potential undesirables, shall we say, wanting to rob you, pickpocket you, grab your phone out of your hand, or maybe if you're cycling, I have nothing against cyclists because I'm a cyclist. I ride a mountain bike, both at bike parks and on the road. But cyclists, if you wear earbuds or headphones, don't use active noise cancelling, because you have no clue when there are vehicles stuck behind you, getting aggravated, wanting to overtake, potentially in dangerous situations, and you're in your own little world, cycling along, haven't got a clue what's going on. It's dangerous and it's irresponsible, right? You need to be able to hear, as a cyclist, when a vehicle is coming up behind you, so that you can take the appropriate action. If it's a very busy road, perhaps you want to move over, let them go past. Perhaps you even want to stop and let the 10, 12 cars that's behind you pull over. Not be in your own little merry world, just cycling along, not giving a about what other people are doing. Anyway, that's my little rant about active noise cancelling cyclists. So yes, it doesn't have active noise cancelling, but at $44.99, we don't expect it. I think there's one other feature I haven't mentioned actually, which is the 360 reality audio support. You will see here a picture of an ear, and it's saying that it's been optimized. What this does is, it would be similar to like 7.2 surround sound. So speakers behind you, beside you, in front of you, directly in front of you, and above you. It actually has a little demonstration mode of it on versus off, and you can hear the sound coming quite clearly from different areas around you, and I was actually quite impressed with how well that worked. And where it says personalization optimized on the screen is because you actually take a picture of your ear, and based on your ear shape, it adjusts the settings for that 360 reality audio. Now, pardon me, I don't know how well that works based on a photograph, but you use the selfie camera and you look at it like this, and it says slowly turn your head one way, and you do that and it takes a picture, and then slowly turn your head the other way and it takes a picture. So they must have Sony must have a huge database of pictures of people's ears, and have done some sort of testing whereby there's an algorithm that knows, based on what your ears look like, the best way to enhance the spatial audio. So that is a feature, and it works quite well. So these little earbuds get a strong thumbs up from me. For $44.99, they're comfortable, the sound quality is good, and the batteries last ages. The pass-through works just fine for its price point, and the only real negatives are, you know, that we're limited by the Bluetooth codec to SBC or AAC, so it can't, you know, wouldn't be as good as aptX or LDAC. There is no active noise cancelling if you wanted it, and they feel a little cheap and plasticky. But for $44.99, I'm going to say these are a great set of earbuds. And even though I don't really use earbuds, I feel like I want a pair just because I like them that much. So my missus is going to be more than happy with these. So yeah, I mean, I'm no wireless earbud expert, but I am a little bit of an audiophile. So yeah, that's my perspective on these, and I just think you can't go wrong for the money. So there will be an Amazon link in the description. They are currently on sale at $44.99. If you fancy a pair of decent little earbuds, or maybe they're a Christmas gift for somebody, click through, pick a set up. As always, thank you very much for watching, and take it easy.